Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh yeah, classic.
I know, right? This book has been around forever. I feel like everyone's heard of it, and
Yeah.
it's been super influential. I think it's really changed the way people think about money,
Yeah.
especially the stuff they don't really teach you in school, you know?
It's really about, yeah, like you said, it's not just like budgeting tips or whatever. It's like a whole mindset shift,
Got it.
And I think Kiyosaki does a really good job of making you question a lot of the beliefs that we just sort of take for granted about money.
Yeah, and like the way he does it is so interesting. It's through storytelling,
Yeah.
basically. He talks about growing up with two dads,
Two dads.
one rich, one poor, and the totally different money lessons that he learned from each of them.
Yeah, I love that framing. It's so smart because, I mean, like, having these two contrasting figures in his life, I think really forced him to think critically about money from a young age.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so tell me about these dads. Like, what were their, philosophies about money?
So his poor dad, his biological father, was very educated.
Yeah.
He had a PhD, and he, believed in job security, working hard,
Hmm.
the classic path. And he had this belief that the love of money was the root of all evil.
Yeah, that's what, like, so many of us are taught, right? That whole, like, play it safe approach.
Exactly. But his rich dad, who was his best friend's father, was a self-made entrepreneur. And he, had this opposite viewpoint. He's like, no, no, no. It's the lack of money that's the root of all evil.
Hmm.
And he stressed financial literacy and like building assets and, making your money work for you.
Wow, so they're total opposites. Did young Robert, like, pick a side right away?
Mhm.
Or, like, how did he deal with these two totally opposing viewpoints?
Well, and that's what makes the book so interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't just blindly follow one or the other. He watched, he questioned, and he ended up forging his own path based on what, resonated with him.
Hmm.
And that's, I think, a big lesson in itself, right? Like, think for yourself.
Hmm.
Don't just accept what you're told.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he brings all of this to life through these really interesting stories from his childhood.
Yeah.
Like, there's that one where he and his friend Mike, who is Rich Dad's son,
Yeah.
they tried to start a business. I think they were like 9 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the toothpaste
The
venture.
toothpaste venture, like making toothpaste from scratch. I don't even know where you begin with that at 9 years old.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like that story, I think, shows that this book isn't just about like, playing it safe or whatever. It's
Right.
really about like initiative,
Mhm.
seeing an opportunity where others don't. And even though, their idea wasn't exactly legal, if you want to get down to it,
Well, yeah, I mean, they got shut down pretty quickly.
they did. They did.
But it wasn't really about the toothpaste.
Right. It wasn't about the toothpaste. It was about, I think, for Rich Dad, seeing like, okay, they have this drive, this
Mhm.
entrepreneurial spirit.
That mindset.
Yeah, and like, maybe the execution wasn't there, but the thought was,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
which is,
Yeah.
I think, huge.
And then there's that story about Rich Dad making them work at his convenience store for like practically nothing, right? At
Yeah, for 10 cents an hour.
10 cents an hour. Like, come on.
I know. But it was a deliberate lesson,
Yeah.
I think he really wanted them to experience like what it felt like to trade your time for money, to
Mhm.
really feel those limitations.
Yeah.
And, I think he knew that Robert wasn't going to be content with that forever.
He actually predicted that Robert was going to try to quit.
He
Right.
did.
And then when he did, Rich Dad was like, aha, gotcha. And then he used it as a teaching moment. Right.
Totally.
To show him, like, you don't want to be stuck working for someone else.
Yeah, and it's that trap, right? Like so many people, I think, fall into that trap of
Totally.
working for money and never really achieving financial freedom.
Yeah, and that's where this whole assets versus liabilities thing comes in, which is like probably the most famous concept from the book, right?
Oh, for sure. And that's one where he really, I think, turns conventional definitions on their heads.
Okay, yeah, break that down. Like, what does he mean by assets and liabilities? Because it's not always as straightforward as it seems.
Right. For him, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket.
Okay.
A liability takes money out.
Hmm.
And it's not just about what you own, it's about the direction of your cash flow.
So, like, even if you own something valuable, like a house,
Yeah.
it could actually be a liability if it's constantly, draining your money through the...
Argues that for most people, their house is actually their biggest liability,
Hmm, interesting.
even though we're always taught to think of it as an asset.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really makes you question, like, everything.
So, like, what are some examples of, true assets in the rich dad, poor dad world?
So things that generate income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, without you needing to actively work for it. So, businesses you own but don't necessarily run day to day.
Sure.
Stocks that pay dividends, rental properties, intellectual property that brings in royalties,
Right.
that kind of thing. That's the key.
And the poor and middle class, they
Mhm.
often end up with, like, liabilities disguised as assets,
Ah,
right? Things that look good on paper but are actually, like, bleeding them dry.
totally. Car loans, credit card debt, even that big house we were talking about. Yeah.
And that all feeds into what he calls the rat race, right?
Yes.
Okay,
But-
so explain the rat race. Like, what's he getting at with that term?
So it's that cycle that I think so many of us get trapped in,
Mm.
right? Where you're working for a paycheck,
Yep.
paying your taxes, and then you're just using that money to buy things that actually increase your expenses. And so you're just,
Stuck on that treadmill.
stuck on that treadmill. You're not really getting ahead.
And he uses that story of Mrs. Martin,
Oh, yeah.
who worked at the convenience store, right,
Yep.
to kind of illustrate this.
She was a hard worker,
Mm-hmm.
but always worried about money
Mm-hmm.
and kind of stuck in a job that she didn't necessarily love because, that paycheck and that sense of security.
Yeah, it's like she was so focused on that paycheck
Mhm.
that she didn't really have the time or energy to think about, like, other options
You're
for
really
building wealth.
Exactly. And it's a cautionary tale, I think, about just relying solely on earned income.
Yeah, so he's really challenging that classic advice that we all get, right? Like, go to school, get a good job, and you'll be set. He's like, no, that's not enough.
Especially without financial literacy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's not against, education or hard work, but those alone aren't going to guarantee you financial freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
You need that financial intelligence piece,
Yes,
which is a different skill set altogether.
totally. And this is where the book gets a little, I think, controversial, especially when he starts talking about corporations and taxes.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, what's his take on that whole thing?
So he argues that, the wealthy use corporations to protect their assets and to minimize taxes, often in ways that, most people aren't even aware of.
Mm.
He even says that, the rich aren't really taxed. It's the middle class who end up footing the bill.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
And I can see how some people might find that, a little bit unfair
Yeah.
or like even upsetting.
For sure.
But like, what's he really getting at there, do you think?
I think, regardless whether you agree or disagree with that statement, I think what he's trying to do is expose, like, how the system works, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the wealthy use these, like, legal structures to their advantage.
Mhm.
And it's about, knowledge is power,
Mhm.
even if it's knowledge that reveals some uncomfortable truths.
So it's not about like necessarily endorsing any particular strategy or, saying like this is the right way to do things.
Right.
But it's more about like being informed.
Yeah, being informed so that you can make conscious choices
Yeah.
rather than just blindly accepting the status quo.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So now I'm kind of curious, like what does he actually mean by financial intelligence?
Yeah.
Because he throws that term around a lot.
Yeah.
So like how does he break that down?
So he breaks it down into 4 key areas,
Okay.
which are...
Wait. Before you list those,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like why those specific areas? Like what is it about those that make them so crucial for like building wealth?
That's a great question. And I think what he's saying is that those areas represent the skills,
Mm-hmm.
not just the knowledge, but the skills that allow you to really understand and manage your money effectively.
So it's like it's not just about like, memorizing facts or whatever. It's about like having the tools to actually like make smart decisions.
Exactly, yeah. So the 4 areas are accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law.
Okay, that's pretty broad. So let's break those down a little, starting with accounting. So accounting, I guess that's about like being able to read and understand financial statements.
Yeah.
Right? Not just like your own personal budget, but like for businesses or investments.
That's part of it, but I think he also takes it a step further.
okay.
It's not just about, like, crunching the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being able to analyze what those numbers mean.
Okay.
It's like reading a story, a financial story,
Financial story, yeah.
and understanding it, like, what is that telling you about, a company's health
Mm-hmm.
or an investment's potential?
So it's like having X-ray vision for finances. Like you
Yeah.
can see beyond the surface and you understand like what are the underlying trends and patterns.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's crucial, I think, for making, like, informed decisions, whether you're starting a business, buying property, investing in the stock market.
Okay, yeah.
It's all about that.
Okay, what about investing? Like, what does he emphasize in that area? Is it just about, like, picking the right stocks?
No, it's much broader than that.
Okay.
He wants you to understand different investment vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
not just stocks and bonds, but also real estate, precious metals,
Mm-hmm.
even, starting your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about understanding risk,
Uh-huh.
calculating potential returns,
Mm-hmm.
and making decisions that are, based on your financial goals and your own tolerance for risk.
So it's not just about, like, picking winners.
Right.
It's about understanding that whole landscape
Yeah.
and then making strategic choices based on, like, your individual circumstances.
And importantly, I think, it's about learning how to make money in both up markets and down markets.
Oh, interesting.
Because he argues that, true investors, they're not afraid of like market fluctuations. They see opportunity in every situation.
So they can kind of, like, ride the waves
Yeah.
instead of getting wiped out.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about understanding markets? Like, what does that even entail? Isn't that just for, like, economists or something?
It is a skill that I think anyone can develop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, recognizing trends, seeing opportunities that others miss,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding the forces of like supply and demand
Mm-hmm.
that drive prices. I mean, if you think about it, like Alexander Graham Bell or Bill Gates,
Mm.
they understood markets, right? They saw a need
Yeah.
and they created a solution.
Yeah.
And that's how they built their wealth.
So it's about having that big picture vision. Like,
Yes.
you understand how the world works, and then you figure out how to, like,
Yeah.
capitalize on those trends.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating. Okay, and then finally we have the law. So why do you think he includes that as, like, a core part of financial intelligence?
I guess because laws and regulations, they impact like every aspect of our finances.
Mm. From, like, taxes to contracts to property ownership.
Exactly. Yeah. And he often says, like, it's expensive to be ignorant of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And, he argues that the wealthy often use legal structures to their advantage. So if you don't understand the rules, you're kind of playing the game blindfolded.
Yeah.
You might miss out on opportunities. You might even put yourself at risk.
It's like knowing the fine print before you sign on the dotted line.
Yeah,
You need to understand the implications of, like, your financial decisions.
exactly. And again, it's not about becoming a lawyer yourself.
Yeah.
But it's about having enough knowledge to,
Yeah.
make informed choices and protect your own interests.
Okay. And all of this financial intelligence, it's not like you're born with it.
Right, exactly.
It's a skill that you develop,
Mhm.
through learning and experience.
He uses a great analogy.
Okay.
He compares it to learning to ride a bike.
Ah.
You might fall down a few times, but you get back up, you try again, and eventually you master it. And the more you practice, the more confident you become.
So it's about, like, overcoming that fear of making mistakes.
Yes.
And just, like, embracing the learning process.
Yes.
Right. And just constantly striving to improve those financial skills.
Absolutely.
And it says most people, they never even tried to develop their financial intelligence because they're too afraid of messing up.
Right.
Right.
They stay stuck in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Even if that means, staying broke.
Yeah. So he really believes that anyone can achieve financial freedom if they're willing to put in the effort.
Absolutely.
So he talks about, like, finding mentors, taking classes, reading books, attending seminars.
Yep.
It's about, like, actively investing in your financial education.
Yeah.
Right. And he doesn't just mean, like, throwing money at it.
Right, yeah.
You need to invest your time and energy as well.
Exactly.
Be a student. Be curious.
Yeah.
Constantly seek out new knowledge and opportunities to, kind of expand your financial horizons.
Yeah, love that.
And he also talks about, like, being proactive, right? Like, putting your knowledge to work and not just sitting around waiting for things to happen.
Absolutely. He encourages people to, make offers, negotiate deals, take calculated risks. It's about taking action, stepping outside of your comfort zone, embracing the possibility of failure as part of the learning process.
It's like that saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about, like, this financial intelligence and all of that.
Yeah.
But, like, he also acknowledges that there are obstacles, right?
Yes.
That people face when they're trying to, like, achieve financial success. So what are some of those like common roadblocks that he talks about?
So he actually identifies 5 main obstacles that he sees holding people back
Okay.
from financial success.
Okay. I'm all ears.
All right, so the first one, and I think this is probably the most common
Mm,
and maybe understandable, is fear.
fear. Yeah.
Right. Fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of failure.
Yeah. Fear can be like paralyzing. Right.
Yeah.
So like, how does he suggest that we, you know, deal with that?
Well, he acknowledges that fear is natural, right?
Yeah.
But he argues that you can't let it control you.
Hmm.
You need to learn to manage it, to use it as a motivator,
Mm-hmm.
to do your due diligence
Okay.
and make informed decisions.
So it's not about like eliminating fear, but it's about like
Right.
understanding it and using it to your advantage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if you're afraid of making a bad investment,
Mm-hmm.
that fear should like push you to do more research, right?
Absolutely.
And really understand like the risks and the rewards before you jump in.
Yep.
Okay.
And he even encourages people to like embrace fear,
Oh, wow.
to see it as a sign that they're stretching themselves, growing, stepping outside of their comfort zone.
Okay.
He uses that great story about the Alamo
Oh, yeah, yeah.
to illustrate this point.
Yeah, yeah, where he talks about like
Yeah.
Texans kind of turned like a military defeat into this rallying cry, right?
Yeah.
Like a source of inspiration rather than shame.
Yeah.
It's a powerful example of like how we could reframe our perspective
Yes.
on fear and failure.
Yeah, he's basically saying, failure is inevitable,
Mm.
but it's not the end of the story.
Okay.
It's an opportunity to learn, to grow,
Mm.
and to come back stronger.
So embrace failure as part of the journey,
Yes.
not as like a roadblock.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. What's the next obstacle that he talks about?
So the next one is cynicism.
Cynicism. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the people who are, quick to criticize,
Mm.
dismiss new ideas without really like analyzing them. They'll
Yeah.
say things like, that'll never work, or it's too good to be true.
We all know those people.
Right.
Yeah.
They can be a real energy drain.
Yeah.
And what he argues is that cynicism is like a form of mental laziness. It's an unwillingness to like think critically and explore new possibilities.
Okay.
So he encourages people to be more open-minded,
Yeah.
to analyze situations objectively
Mm-hmm.
and to consider different perspectives.
So don't just like shut down an idea before you've really like
Right.
explored it.
Yeah.
Give it a chance, do your research,
Yep.
and then make an informed decision.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and that's how you like open yourself up to new opportunities, right?
Totally.
Okay, so what's the third obstacle?
The third one is laziness.
Laziness. But wait, isn't he all about like working hard
Yep.
and building your financial future?
He is.
So like how does laziness fit into that?
Well, he's not talking about physical laziness, right?
Okay.
He's talking about mental laziness, the
Mhm.
unwillingness to think, to learn,
Yeah.
to put in the effort to improve your financial situation.
Oh, I see. So it's more about like that I'll just stay in my comfort zone
Yes.
and hope things work out.
Totally. Yeah.
And
And he argues that, that kind of complacency can be incredibly costly in the long run.
Yeah.
It prevents you from, taking advantage of opportunities,
Mhm.
from developing your financial intelligence, and ultimately
Yeah.
from creating the life you want.
So combat laziness with curiosity, right?
Yes.
A commitment to continuous learning
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like that willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Okay, what's the fourth obstacle?
Fourth one is arrogance.
Arrogance. Okay,
Okay.
so how does that get in the way of financial success?
Well, arrogance can blind you to your own weaknesses
Mm.
and prevent you from seeking out knowledge and advice from others.
Hmm.
It's that I know everything attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can be incredibly costly, especially in the world of finance where markets are constantly changing
Right.
and there's always something new to learn.
So it's actually a sign of strength, not weakness, to be willing to admit that you don't know everything
Absolutely.
and to be like open to learning from others.
Right. Shows humility and a
Mm.
willingness to learn and grow,
Mm.
which are essential, I think,
Yeah.
for success.
And then the final obstacle, the fifth one,
So the last one he talks about is the need for speed.
the need for speed. Okay.
Yeah.
What's he getting at with that?
He's talking about the get-rich-quick mentality
Oh,
that
okay.
so many people fall prey to. They
Yeah.
want instant gratification. They chase after the latest hot stock or, get-rich-quick scheme.
Hmm.
And they lack the patience and the discipline
Yeah.
to build wealth slowly and steadily over time.
They're looking for shortcuts. They're
Yeah,
looking for easy answers.
right.
But true wealth creation, it rarely works that way.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
takes time, it takes effort, it takes, that willingness to kind of play the long game.
And he emphasizes that, many of the most successful businesses and investments
Hmm.
took years, even decades, to reach their full potential.
So
So,
be patient,
yeah.
be persistent,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get discouraged if you don't see results overnight.
Exactly.
Like consistency and dedication, those are key.
Right. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
And neither are most fortunes.
Okay, so now that we've talked about all these obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious, like, what does he suggest we actually do to overcome them?
Yeah.
Like, does he give any concrete advice? Like, what are some of the, like, key strategies or, tactics that he recommends for people who are actually trying to, like, build wealth?
He does. He
Yeah.
does. He offers a whole range of practical tips and strategies throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
But one of his, I think, most important pieces of advice, and this might sound a little surprising,
Okay.
is to mind your own business.
Mind my own business.
Hmm.
But isn't that what we're all doing already?
Well, he's not talking about staying out of other people's affairs.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about building your asset column,
Mm.
right? Focusing on acquiring assets that generate income rather than just working for a paycheck.
Okay, so it's about like shifting your focus from like earning income to like building wealth.
Exactly. And
Okay.
he emphasizes that this isn't an overnight process.
Right.
It takes time, it takes effort,
Yeah.
and a willingness to, learn and adapt.
But he does offer like a clear roadmap
Mhm.
for, getting started, right?
Yes. He suggests finding a mentor, taking a class, making offers, and shopping for bargains in all markets.
Okay, those sound like actionable steps.
Yeah.
So let's dive into each of those a little bit, starting with finding a mentor.
Yeah.
Like, why is mentorship so important in his view?
Because mentors can provide, guidance, support,
Mm-hmm.
and valuable insights based on their own experience. They've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And they can help you kind of navigate the challenges and the opportunities of building wealth.
So it's like having like a personal guide on your financial journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
And mentors, like, they don't have to be millionaires or,
Right.
financial gurus. Yeah. They could be anyone who has like knowledge and experience that you can learn from.
Totally, yeah.
So it could be like a family member, a friend, a colleague, or even someone you connect with online.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. What about taking a class? Like, what kind of classes does he recommend?
Anything that, expands your financial knowledge and skills.
Mhm.
It could be a personal finance course at a community college,
Mhm.
a real estate investing seminar, a stock market trading workshop,
Okay.
whatever aligns with your interests and goals.
So it's about like investing in your financial education, both like literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Mm.
What about making offers? What does he mean by that?
So he means putting yourself out there, taking action,
Mm-hmm.
not being afraid to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
He encourages people to make offers on properties, businesses, even stocks, even if they don't think they're in a position to buy right now.
So it's like you never know what kind of deal you might get
Yeah,
unless you ask.
right, exactly. And even if your offer is rejected,
Mm-hmm.
the process itself is a valuable learning experience. It helps you understand the market, refine your negotiation skills,
Yeah.
and identify potential opportunities that others might miss.
So it's about being proactive.
Yes.
Not being afraid to like put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Welcome back. Let's dig into those 10 steps Kiyosaki outlines for finding your financial fast track.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready. What's the first step?
Okay, so the first step might sound kind of blunt. It's stop doing what you're doing.
Whoa. Okay. That's a wake-up call, right?
Yeah.
But what does he mean by that exactly? Like,
Yeah. He doesn't necessarily mean quit your job,
Good.
though it could be that for some people, but it's more about, taking a pause and really assessing your current financial path. Like, are your actions aligning with your goals?
So it's about recognizing if you're stuck in a rut, right?
Yeah.
Like just doing the same things over and over.
Yeah.
Again, without getting the results you want.
Exactly. If you're not moving towards financial freedom, something needs to change.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So
Yep.
once you've kind of stopped and taken stock of where you're at, what's next?
Okay, so step two is look for new ideas. And this is where that financial intelligence we talked about really comes
It
in.
was about expanding your horizons, right? Like
Yeah.
learning about different investment strategies,
Mhm.
maybe even stepping outside of your comfort zone a little bit.
Precisely. Attend seminars, read books, connect with people who are already successful in areas that interest you. Like, soak up as much knowledge as you can.
Yeah, get that brain working.
Okay.
Okay, what's step number 3?
Step three is all about mentorship. Find someone who has done what you want to do.
Yeah. Learning from those who have walked the walk,
Mm.
right? Not just talk the talk.
Right. Find those financial role models and learn from how they achieve success. He even suggests, like, taking them to lunch, asking them questions, absorbing their wisdom.
Yeah, don't be shy. Pick their brains.
Mm.
Okay, what's next on the list?
Okay, step four is all about education. Take classes, read, and attend seminars.
Invest in yourself. I like it.
Yep. Continually expanding your knowledge and skills and really staying ahead of the game in the world of finance. And this isn't like a one-time thing, it's an ongoing commitment to learning.
Yeah, lifelong learning is so important in any field, but especially with finances, right? Like the rules are always changing, new opportunities are emerging. Okay, on to step 5.
Okay, so step five might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but it's make lots of offers.
Wait, really? Lots of offers, even if you're not sure you can afford it.
Yeah. He believes you should make offers on properties, businesses, even stocks, regardless of whether you think you can actually buy them right now,
Hmm.
because you never know what kind of deal you might get. And even if your offer is rejected, the process itself is so valuable.
It's about putting yourself out there, right? Like
Yeah.
getting comfortable with negotiation and just kind of seeing what's possible.
Totally. Yeah, you'll gain experience, you'll learn about the market, you'll refine your negotiation skills.
So it's like practice for the real deal.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, step six is look at many different deals, but only make a few.
So it's about being selective, right?
Yeah.
Like not just jumping at every opportunity that comes your way.
Exactly. Do your due diligence, research the market, and wait for those right deals to come along.
So patience and discipline are key, right?
Okay.
Okay, step 7. What's next?
Okay, so this one's about kind of building your network. Look for someone to do the deal with, not for.
I like that. It's about collaboration, right? Like finding people who share your vision and goals and then working together to achieve success.
Yeah, you don't have to go it alone. Find people with complementary skills and experience and, create a team that can help you achieve more than you could on your own.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, what about step 8?
Okay, step eight is focus on a few key skills, but keep learning.
So, like, become an expert in your chosen field, but always stay open to new knowledge and ideas. Like, be a specialist, but with a growth mindset.
Exactly. Yeah, it's finding that balance between depth and breadth of knowledge.
Okay, 2 more steps to go. What's step 9?
Okay, so step nine is probably one of his most famous pieces of advice. It's pay yourself first.
Ooh, yes. I've heard that before. It's about prioritizing your own financial well-being
No.
above all else, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about building that habit of saving and investing, even if it's just a small amount at first. Like, make sure you're paying yourself before you pay anyone else.
To treat yourself like your most important creditor. I love that. Okay, last but not least, what's step 10?
Okay, step 10 is teach others and you shall receive. This one's all about the power of giving back and sharing your knowledge and expertise with others.
Yeah, he talks about the importance of generosity like throughout the book, but this is kind of a more specific call to action, isn't it?
It is. He believes that teaching others is one of the best ways to really solidify your own understanding and to kind of create that positive cycle of abundance,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mhm.
more you give, the more you receive, not just financially, but in all areas of life.
So it's not just about getting rich, it's about becoming a more well-rounded person, right?
Absolutely.
And contributing to the world in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so those 10 steps, in a nutshell, are Kiyosaki's roadmap to financial freedom.
They are, yeah.
They provide a solid framework, I think, for anyone who's looking to take control of their financial future, build wealth, create the life they want.
Absolutely. And I think they really embody those core principles of the book, right? Like
Right.
take ownership, be proactive, never stop learning, and that focus on building assets that generate income rather than just working for a paycheck.
Yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job of covering like the key takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more about like how to actually like apply these takeaways in their own lives, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. And luckily, Kiyosaki does offer a lot of very practical advice and specific strategies throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
He even outlines this set of like 10 steps that people can take to find their financial fast track.
10 steps. Okay, that sounds promising. Let's hear what they are.
We'll be right back after a quick break to dive into those 10 steps and explore how they can help you achieve your financial goals.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm really excited to dive into these 10 steps that Kiyosaki outlines for, like finding your financial fast track.
Yeah, I think these tips are so helpful. They really offer a practical roadmap for anyone who's looking to, apply the rich dad, poor dad philosophy
Mm-hmm.
and actually start building wealth.
Okay, I'm ready. Lay it on me. What's the first step?
All right, so the first step is a little bit of a reality check.
Okay.
It's stop doing what you're doing.
Okay, I mean, that sounds a little harsh, but I guess sometimes you need that, right?
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a wake-up call to get things moving.
Yeah, you need a shake up sometimes to get on the right path.
Yeah, but what does he mean by that exactly? Like, does he mean like quit your job or...
He doesn't necessarily mean quit your job, though. For some people, it could be that. But it's more about like taking a pause,
Mhm.
stepping back, and honestly assessing like your current financial trajectory. Are your actions aligning with your goals?
So it's about becoming aware of any like patterns or habits that might be holding you back.
Yeah.
And if what you're doing isn't working,
Yeah.
if it's not leading you towards your financial goals,
Right.
then it's time to make a change.
Exactly. Don't just keep doing the same things over and over again and expect different results.
Yeah, that's the definition of insanity, right?
Exactly. Einstein said that.
Okay. All right. So once you've kind of stopped and taken stock of where you're at, what's next?
So step 2 is look for new ideas.
Okay.
And this is where I think that financial intelligence we've been talking about comes in.
Okay.
It's about expanding your knowledge, exploring different perspectives, opening your mind to new possibilities.
So like be a sponge, soak up information,
Yeah.
go to seminars, read books, listen to podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
connect with people
Yeah.
who are already successful
Yes.
in areas that interest you.
Totally.
Get that brain working.
Exactly.
Okay. Step number 3.
All right, so step 3 kind of builds on that idea of learning from others.
Okay.
It's find someone who has done what you want to do.
So find a mentor,
Find a mentor, exactly.
someone who's already like, achieved the level of success that you're aspiring to,
Mm-hmm.
who can offer guidance and support and valuable insights based on their experience.
Exactly. They can help you navigate the challenges,
Mm-hmm.
avoid the common pitfalls,
Yeah.
and really accelerate your progress.
Yeah. And he even says, like, take them to lunch, right?
He does, yeah.
Like, pick their brains, really absorb their wisdom.
Yeah, don't be shy about asking for help
Yeah, for sure.
and advice.
Okay. So we've got, like, look, find a mentor
Yep.
with step 4.
All right. Step 4 is all about formal education.
Okay.
Take classes, read, and attend seminars.
Invest in yourself. I like it.
Yeah, it's about continually expanding your knowledge and skills
Mm-hmm.
and really staying ahead of the game in this world of finance.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't like a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing.
Yeah. Lifelong learning is so important in any field,
Totally.
but especially with finances, I feel like, because
Yeah,
the rules are always changing. New opportunities are emerging.
for sure.
Okay. On to step 5.
Okay, so step 5 might feel a little counterintuitive.
Okay.
It's make lots of offers.
Lots of offers, like on properties, businesses, stocks.
Yeah.
But what if you're not even in a position to buy right now?
He believes you should make offers regardless of whether you think you can afford them at this moment.
Because you never know what kind of deal you might get.
Yeah.
And the process itself is incredibly valuable.
So it's not just about like buying, it's about like learning that art of negotiation,
Yeah,
understanding market values,
Mhm.
putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
seeing what's possible.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even if your offer is rejected,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to gain valuable experience.
Yeah.
You'll learn more about the market.
Yeah.
You'll refine your negotiation skills.
So it's like practice for the real deal.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, that makes sense. What's step 6?
All right, so step 6 is look at many different deals, but only make a few.
So it's about being selective,
Yes.
right? Like not just jumping at the first opportunity that comes your way.
Exactly. Do your due diligence, research the market, and wait for those like right deals to come along.
So patience,
Mhm.
discipline, those are key
It's huge.
in this game.
Yeah.
Okay, step 7, what's next? All right, so this one's about kind of building your network and leveraging that.
Oh, yeah.
It's look for someone to do the deal with, not for...
I love that. It's about collaboration,
Yeah,
right?
it is,
Like
yeah.
finding people who share your vision,
Mm-hmm.
your goals,
Mm-hmm.
and then working together to achieve success.
Exactly. You don't have to go it alone.
Yeah.
You know, find people with complementary skills and experience
Hmm.
and create a team that can help you achieve more
Yeah.
than you could on your own.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
It does.
Okay, what about step 8?
All right. So step 8 is focus on a few key skills, but keep learning.
Okay, so like become an expert in your chosen field,
Mm-hmm.
but also like stay open to new knowledge and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like be a specialist, but with a growth mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's finding that sweet spot between like specialization and continuous learning.
Yeah, because the world is always changing, right?
Totally.
And the people who are most successful are the ones who can like, yeah, adapt and evolve
Mm-hmm.
along with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, 2 more steps to go.
Oh, okay.
What's step 9?
All right. So step 9 is probably his most famous piece of advice.
Okay.
It's pay yourself first.
Ah, yes. Prioritize your financial well-being above all else, right?
Exactly.
Build that habit of
Yeah.
saving and investing, even if it's just a small amount at first.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're paying yourself
Yeah.
before you pay anyone else.
Yes.
Treat yourself like your most important creditor.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your mindset
Yeah.
and recognizing that your financial future is a priority,
Yes.
not an afterthought.
Okay, last but not least, what's step 10?
All right. Step 10 is teach others and you shall receive.
Okay.
This is all about the power of giving back, sharing your knowledge,
Mhm.
expertise
Hmm.
with others.
Yeah, and he talks about generosity throughout the book, but this is like kind of a more specific call to action, isn't it?
It is.
Like actually go out and help other people on their financial journeys.
Yeah, and he believes that teaching others is one of the best ways to solidify your own understanding,
Mm-hmm.
to refine your skills,
Mm-hmm.
and to create this positive cycle of abundance.
So it's not just about getting rich yourself.
Right, yeah.
It's about like sharing that knowledge and helping others achieve their goals as well.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about sharing financial knowledge. It's about sharing any knowledge or skills that you have that could be helpful to others.
Yeah.
The more you give, the more you receive, not just financially, but in all areas of life.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so those 10 steps, they're really like Kiyosaki's roadmap
AR.
to financial freedom.
Yep.
And I think they provide a really solid framework for anyone who is looking to take control of their financial future,
Yeah.
build wealth, create the life they want.
Absolutely. And they embody the core principles of the book. Right. Take ownership, be proactive, never stop learning, and focus on building those assets that generate income rather than just working for a paycheck.
Yeah, it's not rocket science, but it does require
Yeah,
a shift in mindset
totally.
and a willingness to put in the effort.
Absolutely.
So I think we've covered a lot of ground today. You know, we've talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone through like the key takeaways,
Mhm.
those 10 steps.
Mhm.
And I really think this has given our listeners like a lot to think about.
For sure.
And hopefully like some practical steps they can take
Yeah.
to, improve their financial literacy
Mhm.
and start building that brighter financial future.
Absolutely. And remember, this journey to financial freedom, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So be patient, be persistent, never stop learning and growing.
And most importantly, take action.
Yes.
Don't just let this information like sit in your head,
Right.
Pick one of those 10 steps
Yeah.
and start implementing it today.
Exactly.
Even a small step in the wrong direction can make a big difference
Huge difference.
over time.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Awesome book.
It is. And we hope you found this conversation, informative, insightful, inspiring, all of those things.
Absolutely.
And remember, financial freedom, it is within your reach.
It is.
It all starts with taking that first step.
It does.
So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
See ya.